up? What is good? Jim Alfano with the Brooke team at EXP Realty, bringing you Scott Thibodeau from
William Scott Media.
Very cool, sir. Thank you. How are you today?
Great.
So we're doing a good photo shoot here. You did the photography, you did the Matterport, which I'll turn into an infinity tour, which is just outstanding off the hook.
Great.
You think that brings a lot of value when you do that virtual tour for people when they're showing and looking at houses remotely?
Oh, certainly. Certainly gives the potential buyers a much better feel for what the space is like, even before they step into it. And that kind of makes your presentation a lot more professional, brings a lot more value to the process as well.
Right on. Scott, how would you ensure that the property's features are highlighted in the photography?
Well, I think it really depends on the property itself. So the age of the property sometimes has a feature to it because things were built a little bit differently in the past. Things were emphasized in certain parts of the home in the past versus newer things built today. So you really have to take that into consideration. Age of the property, the style of it. So some homes will lend themselves to certain things that are more popular, like built-ins and those kind of things, versus storage, versus entertainment. So it really depends on the space overall, which is why it's great to do a walkthrough with the agent first, so we kind of get a feel for, okay, here, since you might have already seen it, all right, what do you think is going to be a popular thing or a highlight of this property, so that I can help bring that to the photos as well.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, especially with the more complex and larger properties. That's going to be even more important.
Definitely.
What equipment do you use for your photo shoots, and do you have backup equipment in case of failure?
Exactly right. Exactly right. I learned a long time ago from being in the military and working in the IT field that you've always got to have backups. Always got to have backups. So I carry typically multiple cameras, multiple lenses, multiple storage devices. The only thing I don't have is multiple drones, so we won't go there. But yeah, so I generally do carry multiples with me because the last thing I want to do is have to interrupt a shoot or do a reshoot, because sometimes scheduling, as you know, is probably the biggest challenge we have with getting into a property when it's convenient, when it works with the homeowner and that kind of thing. Right. So it's good to be able to do that shot, that shoot first go without having to do a reshoot.
Obviously, when you're taking shots of the rooms with the still photography, you want to do it at angles that are complementing the room and making it appear as large as it can be without embellishment.
Well, that's a challenge sometimes, but the fact is that the space is the space, and what we don't want to do is mislead anyone.
100%, and that's kind of what I was leading up to.
Yeah, misleading. As a matter of fact, I actually did have a reply to an interesting email I sent out to some other agents, and they replied, "I might hire you if you don't use a wide angle lens." Their opinion is that it does misrepresent the space. So it is kind of a touch point with some individuals that, yes, we try to capture as much as we can. And my point is, it's not really misrepresentation. It's really trying to give the best possible view of what the space looks like, as opposed to having something that's a very narrow focus, and it doesn't really give you the sense of the space overall.
Yeah, I was in one showing recently, and it was funny because there was one wall that maybe was 4 feet long and before the doorway. And in the photography, it looked like it was double. It looked like it was 8 feet long.
Yeah, and it depends on obviously where, as your point was, the angles and what's going to do that. So you've got to be cognizant of that and realize that, yeah, that can really distort things if you're at the outer edges. And you see it sometimes too with lighting or other things that become circular, but they become oblong, right? That doesn't look right to us. Or a refrigerator that's 3 feet wide or something, right? That happens sometimes because of just the distortion that comes. So thankfully, a lot of times in the editing process, we can kind of curtail that. If they're done properly, you can kind of minimize that impact and kind of bring it back into a normal range of visibility.
Right on. That's one of the reasons why I like using you. I mean, you're coming at this from an ethical perspective. In a lot of reasons, best to represent the seller, and we want the property to look big and wonderful, but also at the same time to be real, because we don't want to get false premises presented to this buyer client or the agent.
That's right.
Very cool.
Because it's your reputation as well.
100%.
Because the photos, they don't know I took the photos. No. They just know you're the agent.
Yeah. It's like the CEO of the company. If everyone screws up in the company, the CEO is still. Yes. 100%. Thank you for that. Scott, do you offer any services like drone shots as well?
As a matter of fact, yes. And that's a very popular feature that is being used a lot more and more, and that's to get a better understanding of the surrounding area. So drone photography is something that I do as an FAA licensed Part 107 commercial pilot, which is something you want to verify as well, that your photographers have a license and possibly even insurance, right? That just covers any possible outcomes due to errant mishaps, and that would be covered. You'd be covered. The homeowner would be covered as well. So definitely want to have insurance when flying a drone around as well. But yes, it's offered both video and aerial photography.
Outstanding. And lastly, do you have any advice for homeowners before they list their property to sell and before the photography? Things they could do, not specifically staging, but anything. I don't know. Any advice, even if it is staging, like anything you could contribute.
Yeah, one of them is, and of course it's outside of the photography, the shoot itself is, I think homeowners sometimes underestimate how much work it takes to get a home ready to list. And I sometimes see the stress a lot of homeowners are under when I show up at the door, and they're just like, I'm not ready, and I try to do the best I can to let them know that, okay, I realize you're still here, you're still living here, you can't make it look like you don't. But yeah, plan the time, as to overestimate how much time it'll take to get ready as opposed to under. I can't tell you how many times I've ended up helping homeowners move things from room to room because,
oh God,
no, I'm telling you, there's a lot of stories, or I'm waiting for them to finish painting in one room before I can shoot it because they just didn't get to it. So that's really,
yeah, it's a big point. That's problematic. Because then if you don't get it done on the scheduled appointment and you have to reschedule, it could delay everything else. Wow, that's very important and cool. I did with this listing that we shot today. We had the luxury of the clients moving out before we listed this property for sale. Number one, number two, we also scheduled it with the proper amount of time. There was a couple of little things that needed repair in the home. We did those, and then we also instructed them on how to be able to put a stager in, what furniture to leave, what to put where.
Yeah, fantastic.
And we had cleaning people come in too.
That looks great. Yeah, this was a what I call a perfect shoot.
Yeah.
No virtual staging needed. It looks great. It's clean. It's ready to go. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Oh, 100%. Lastly, before that, I may have lied before if I said that was the last one. I'm going to do the last one. Give us one of the funniest stories you might have encountered out in the field. A dog biting your ankle, snaking behind the corner, like something memorable that is funny for the audience.
I would have to say, a lot of people have dogs and cats. It's very common. But this one homeowner had a bird. A bird. Yeah, it wasn't a parakeet, but it was a smaller, brightly colored bird. And it was in a rather large cage. And so I was doing the shoot. I was talking to the bird, and it was chirping away and everything. And the homeowner came back in. I was pretty much all done. It's like, yeah, that's a cute bird. What's his name? Started talking about the bird. And he says, oh, he's very friendly. I go, oh, really? So he opens the door to the cage, and the bird instinctively just was walking around his cage. All of a sudden, it flies over and lands on my head. And then it's like picking my hair and stuff like that.
Are you nervous while that's going on? Okay.
Yeah, thankfully, I grew up in a family where we always had animals or pets and stuff.
Okay.
But the fact was the bird wouldn't leave. So it was walking on my shoulders back and forth. And here I'm walking over to the cage, and I'm trying to get it to go onto the cage and it would walk over to the other side. He didn't want to leave me. And the homeowner left the house.
Oh, really?
So I'm wondering, what do I do?
So you got the bird
stuck on me.
You want to go home.
I'm like, I'm done. I'm ready to go. And the bird won't leave. So I'm looking out the window trying to find the homeowner.
What did you do? Yeah, you just had to pick him up?
No. Finally, the homeowner did come and like, can you help me?
Oh,
I need to go.
Oh, he must have been hysterical.
Yeah, he was laughing. He's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty funny. So he just comes over and the bird jumps on his finger and goes away. I'm like, okay. And that was it. Yeah.
Nice.
That was such a crazy part. I didn't realize he went back outside. I was stuck in the house with the bird on me.
All right. At least he didn't poop on you.
No. That was it.
Very cool, Scott.
Thanks.
Always appreciate you. Thanks for coming and doing this work today and taking this quick video for us.
Thank you.
All right, man. Be
Have
good.
a great day.
Be good.